Hello, everyone. Good morning to you, and welcome to another promising session, which it's going to be enlightening and, of course, very inspiring as we prepare for the New York and London session today. In fact, we are going to be focusing on a price action based technical analysis. In this video, we will be thoroughly examining the financial instruments on our watch list, which are the GBPUSD, the USDJPY, XAUUSD, and of course the USOilSPOT. Well, in the last 24 hours, we saw how the dollar has been running flat majorly, and this was as a result of low liquidity in the market, which was a fallout from the observation of the US independence, which happened yesterday. So the market was closed yesterday, and as a result of that, we saw that there was no liquidity, no participant in the market to drive price movement. Now, as we prepare for the upcoming trading session, I have conducted a comprehensive analysis of the current market structures on all of the instruments we are monitoring so far this week to identify potential trading opportunities that we can capitalize on. So I will be sharing with you my insights, my insightful findings, which you all know is accompanied by simple setups. We always rely on trend lines, key levels, and chart patterns, which will definitely provide us with valuable insight into the historical price movement. And using this information, we can easily position ourselves in such a way that we can catch any potential trading opportunity today. So for those who are joining us for the first time, you're highly welcome. I'm glad to have you around. And what we simply do here is to come together in anticipation of both the London and the New York session, we are going to be reviewing the charts together to follow up details and, of course, position ourselves strategically for today's trading session. And the analysis we do here is a fallout from the weekend videos I normally share in preparation for the new week. So it's important to watch this video, as this live analysis is basically on the 1 hour time frame, which is our execution time frame. So if you do want to understand how we got to this point, the current structure you will be seeing on the 1 hour time frame, to have a better idea of how we got to this level, then I would advise you to watch the video. And I already have the links in the description box of this current video you are watching right now. So probably after the live session, you can go in there and check it out. And one thing about it is that it will also give you an insight into what the market is, and you can use that information to make your own independent decision on your own account. And to navigate the video is very easy. They are duly timestamped, so you can easily navigate to whichever area of the video you intend to watch. And please don't forget to support the project by clicking the like button. Your likes are valuable to me, and it also helps the YouTube algorithm to push these videos to a wider audience of traders who will find them beneficial to them too. So thank you very much as you do so. So without further ado, we are going to be diving right into the business for today, and you know how we do it. The first thing we want to be doing is to check on the economic calendar so that we can keep tabs with the fundamental aspect of the market and be on the same page with other participants in the market who are also anticipating this event. We all know that these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movement, and by monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlations between key economic releases and specific technical patterns. And as a result of this, we can easily position ourselves in such a way that we can catch this move prior to the event, during, or even after the event. So with that being said, here we'll be diving right into the economic calendar. And for today, which is July 5th, hold on a second. So let's just run through. So I normally focus on high impact event, of course. So let me zoom this in a little bit so that we can see things clearly. So we normally focus on high impact event from the economies of those currencies we have on our watch list, which are the US economy, the Japanese economy, and of course the UK's economy. And for Wednesday, July 5, we only have one high impact event that majority will be looking forward to, and that is the FOMC minute. And the the FOMC minutes are released by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, and it's a clear guide to the future US interest rate policy. So it's one thing that majority in the market will be looking forward to, as it will give us an insight. Even during this speech, there will be some insight that we are going to be getting to give us an idea of what the interest rate policy is likely going to be. Remember, we are having a rate hike decision coming up later in the month, and there is a consensus that there is likely going to be another rate hike. So we are going to be looking forward to that one to see what the outcome will be like. And this is coming up in about 9 to 10 hours from now. So we are going to be seeing a lot of anticipation in the market as we get prepared for that one too. And today being the first New York trading session for the month of July. Remember, yesterday was a public holiday. The market was shut down yesterday. There is a tendency for some volatility during the early hours of the New York session. So what we are going to be doing today is to try to identify simple setups that we are going to be using to be able to be on standby to catch any potential move during these sessions. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business for today. And as usual, the first instrument on our watch list is the USOilSPOT. Excuse me, please. So on the USOilSPOT this morning, I already shared an update. In fact, we have been profitable so far this week on the USOilSPOT, and the both times we had, I think we had 4 positions so far on the USOilSPOT so far this week. We had a situation here at the beginning of the week where we had the buy position triggered at the $70.75 level, as you can see, and we also added more positions at the breakout of the $71 area. That was on Monday, and in fact on the first day we were already profitable. And during the live session yesterday, we also acknowledged that we are going to be taking advantage of some other buy positions here. Had a $70.40. We took advantage of that one. We maximized the potential of that move by taking advantage of this one, and also added more positions at the breakout of the $71 level. And before I went to bed yesterday, I shared an update as regards to that setup that we want to be moving our stop losses to secure the current buy position. And if you had done that correctly, you must have been taken out with some reasonable size of profit on the USOilSPOT. So this morning I shared an update on this instrument. So let's run through my update on this instrument today, that is this morning. So if you are with me on my TradingView and Telegram platform, you will definitely have seen this one, but for the sake of clarity, let's look at it together here, and then we go back into the live chat to see how we are going to be positioning ourselves. So this morning I said here that although a lower high was established at the $71.40 level, there are still possibilities for buying opportunities if the breakout, retest of the new descending trend line and the $71 level occurs. Nevertheless, a breakdown retest of the $70.75 level might lead to some retracement. We will continue to observe the price action closely. So this was a structure we had here, and I had a new descending trend line that I said we are going to be using to guide our trading activity today. So let's go into the live chat and see what I'm talking about here. So zooming into the current structure, so we already have a sell position triggered right now, and price action is currently running with about 30 pips in profit thereabout, though we are still not very sure this bearish move is going to be going further to the downside. And remember, I said in the commentary that it's likely going to be a retracement of that impulsive move that as we have been witnessing so far this week. And so the new trend line I was talking about is this descending trend line here. So we saw what happened during the let's call it the New York session yesterday, though we know it was closed. We saw that as soon as price got into the zone at the $71.40 area, we saw selling pressure resume around that area. And one interesting thing about the structure is that price action appeared to have found a lower high. As you can see, the highest point price action got to this week is around the $70.80 level. And we saw what happened yesterday. Price was unable to break above the previous high, which was a clear sign that price might likely be going to the downside. And if we look at what happened throughout the course of the early hours of today, we saw consistent lower highs. And when we bring out our line chart, connected a series of lower highs, and that was the trend line I was talking about in my commentary this morning, that we are going to be using this to guide our trading activity for today. And you know what this simply means? It obviously means that as long as price action remains below that trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our sell position, while we also look out for more opportunities to maximize that bearish move. And as a result of this, we had a sell stop order just right below that $70.75 level, with the hopes that price action will continue to the downside. And our stop losses will be somewhere right around or above that $71 area, which will be dovetailing to about 35 to 40 pips depending on where your entry is. And let's see how price action will play out from here. So I'm of the opinion that price action will still find some selling pressure, like a retest of structure or coming back into that trend line to give us some continued selling pressure to incite a trend continuation to the downside. So if price action climbs up, we don't need to panic. Let's just hold on and wait for this cycle to play out and then maximize this move if price action continues to fall to the downside. So let's see how this is going to play out from here. And one thing I would like to call our attention to at this juncture is this support line of the ascending channel we identified at the beginning of the week. We talked about this, of course, in the video on the USOilSPOT. So for those who have not watched it, please watch it so that you can understand how we got to this point from an holistic point of view. So right now, price action is currently trading along the support line of that ascending channel, which makes this level a very important area, as depending on how price action reacts to this level will determine what our next line of action will be, if we are going to be adding more sell positions to our existing trade or probably get ready for another bullish move. So zooming back into that structure, you will see that it also shares a confluence with that $70.40 area. So I want to see another breakdown retest of the structure to give me an opportunity to add more sell positions to my existing trade. And if price action continues to go to the downside, breaking down our weekly key level at the $70 area, of course, we definitely want to be adding more position to our existing trade there. So these are my views here on the USOilSPOT, selling the USOilSPOT today because things are looking very bearish at this point. But in as much as we are looking out for selling opportunities in this market, I'm of the opinion that we also want to keep tabs with the potentials of the buyers too as well. And in fact, since the beginning of this week, price action has been trading above our key level of the $70 mark. And for the fact that price remains above our key level, we cannot ignore the potentials of buyers too. So with the situation we have here, what do we want to see on this chart that will make us change our buyers from bearish to bullish? Now, if this situation if price does not continue to the downside here and we get taken out of the sell position, what I want to see here that will give me the confidence to buy the USOilSPOT is to see price action take out this bearish trend line. So this is the bearish trend line I identified this morning. So it's going to be a very key determinant of price action for today. So it's important you mark this trend line out on your chart, as we are going to be using this to guide our trading activities for today. So once I sight a breakout of that trend line, then I want to start considering buying. But remember, we are not getting too excited to join a bullish move at that point, as we'll still need some confirmation to happen. And to find confirmations, we shall scale down into our lower time frame. It could be the 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes time frame to look out for confirmations that buyers are gradually gaining momentum, and this would reflect on the chart as a retest of structure. It could be the retest of the trend line, or the $70.75 level, or even the support line of that ascending channel. And what we are going to be looking out for are signs that buyers are gradually gaining momentum, which could come in the form of a reversal pattern. It could be a double bottom structure, head and shoulder pattern, or even a falling wedge, whichever one it may be. Then we look for the neckline, then we join the bullish move to the upside. Then we can maximize the momentum when price action breaks out of the $71.40 level, and if it goes on to break out of the $71.80 area, we want to continue to add more position to our existing trade. So for us to buy the US Oil Spot today, we would need to see a breakout of that descending trend line before considering before welcoming the idea of buying the US Oil Spot at this point in time. So these are my views here on the US Oil Spot. So we want to be marking these levels out on your screen, and let's see how price action will play out in the next couple of hours. So we already have a sell position triggered, running in profit of our 30 pips. Let's see how this will play out. If you're a cautious trader, you might want to move your stop losses to entry point to secure this position. But since we are profitable so far this week, I will just allow this trade to run its cycle. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions, and you can as well use that time to mark these levels out on your chart as we see. So let's see. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're on the same page. Trust me, I'm going to, of course, be with you on my public platforms in the comment section there on the TradingView and Telegram platforms to give you updates as at when due. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're on the same page. So I will be moving on to the next instrument on our watch list. And the next instrument we are going to be looking at this morning is the GBPUSD. So on the GBPUSD, we have been witnessing a profitable situation here so far this week. We had moments where we bought. We also had moments where we also sold, and at both times we were able to scoop in some reasonable amount of pips on both occasions. Now, let us look at what has been going on since the beginning of the week here. And if we look at this closely, the first thing we observed at the beginning of the week was this range where price action was caught within, just right around our key level, had a 1.27. So it was this little flat channel we saw here between the 1.27070 and the 1.26880 level. And in fact, with this flat channel, we were looking out for signals. You know how we use our flat channels in this community. We wait for price action to either break out of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or break down of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And in fact, we have this breakdown of the support line here, just right here on Monday, and price action moved about, let's see how many pips was that, about 30 pips in our favor before we begin to see some buy pressure resume. And if you remember vividly, on Monday we acknowledged this zone here just right around that 1.265, which happens to be the neckline of a potential reversal pattern we identified on the 4 hours time frame. You might want to watch my GBPUSD video in the link in the description box of this current video to understand how we identify that reversal pattern there. I wouldn't be going into that detail here. So we begin to see some buy pressure resume here, and I told you I missed out on that opportunity because I was thinking that price action will come back to retest the structure to incite another bearish move to the downside since we had a breakdown of that support line. But it appears that did not happen as we saw price action continue to upside. And during our live session yesterday, we acknowledged the higher lows in this market by connecting that lows together to give us this beautiful ascending trend line that we said we are going to be using to guide trading activities going forward. And what this simply means here is that as long as price action remains above that trend line, we shall look out for buying opportunities and even feel comfortable buying any commodity above the ascending trend line. And as you can see, since in the last 24 hours, price action has been respecting it. And yesterday, we also took advantage of this position at the breakout of both the key level and the 1.27070 area. And in fact, price moved significantly well as we had about 40 pips move in that direction before we started seeing selling pressure resume around that area. And of course, if you had moved your stop losses accordingly, just like we always preach here in this community, you would have been taken out with a modest size of profit on that one. So I shared a commentary this morning as regards to this new setup that price action is gradually forming at this juncture in the market, as we are really at a very important confluence here. Now, let's look at the commentary here before we go into the details. So on the GBPUSD commentary this morning, let's look at what I said here. So this was how we have been managing this trade this morning. So I said here that the price action seems to have finished retracing the initial leg that began yesterday as buy pressure regains strength around the week's key level of the $1.27 area. This reaffirms the significance of the ascending trend line. Once again, the trend line will continue to serve as a reference point to guide our trading decisions for today and in fact for the later part of the week. So now let's go back into the live chat and let's see what is really going on here. Now remember that at the beginning of the week we had our resistance level at the 1.27070 area. As you can see, that was the level, and we saw the breakout, a successful breakout of that resistance line during the mid-session of the London session yesterday, as we saw the final breakout of that resistance with a very strong consecutive engulfing candles. And you all know from a technical standpoint, whenever price action breaks out of a significant structure, we expect that at one point in time there will be some profit-taking activities which will reflect on the chart as a retracement back into the structure. And if possible, buy pressure resumes there to incite a trend continuation to the upside. And if you look at what is happening here, if you look at what is going on at this point in time, you will see that since price action came back into that zone that was broken yesterday, we begin to see the appearance of buy pressure around that area, giving us a clue that we might likely be seeing the culmination of that retracement phase. And the appearance of buy pressure is a sign that we might likely be seeing another accumulation phase that will lead to another bullish momentum. And what we are going to be doing here is to try and understand what is going on here so that we can be on standby to catch whatever potential move here. Then in addition to the fact that price is back at that level, we also have it sitting on this strong ascending trend line, which has been supporting this bullish momentum since the beginning of the week. Now, the question at this point in time is, will price action respect this trend line one more time to incite another wave of bullish momentum, or are we going to be having a breakthrough of this trend line to incite a sell-off in this particular market? And remember, we are around our key level for the week, where you know how we use our key levels. When price remains above the key level, we look out for structures and patterns that will support buying opportunity. And if price action breaks down the key level, we want to be looking out for structures and patterns that will support a selling opportunity. Now, with the continued buy pressure here, and for the fact that price sits on a strong ascending trend line, I'm of the opinion that we should look out for buying opportunity at this point. Remember, we are not ignoring the chances of sellers. We are going to be talking about that in a moment. But let's discuss what to look out for here if we are really going to be buying the GBPUSD today. Now, if the continued buy pressure here continues, then we could have a reversal pattern. And when we have reversal patterns, you know, the next thing we want to be doing is to identify the neckline. So we shall be using it to guide our trading activities going forward. Now, if we scale down into the 50 minutes time frame to see things more clearly here, you will notice that we have a demand zone around the 1.27 area. So let's just mark this zone out, and I will try to label it. This is the 15 minutes time frame, mind you. So we want to try and label this area, place this at the center of the box. So I would rather give this a darker color. Okay, so we have a demand zone figured out here. So I want to be having my neckline sitting around here, which would also, that's around the 1.271 area, a very beautiful psychological level considering the round figure of that price. So I want to be having my key level, my neckline around that point, which has already been broken before. So we have the 1.27100 level marked out. Then, oh, come on. All right. So that was a typographical error there. So we have the 1.271 level. And then I will just put this at the top right hand side. Okay, give this a green color. Here we go. So if you look at this neckline here, you will see how it has been a major determinant of price action since the later part of yesterday. And I want to see price action climb above that structure. Excuse me. So to capture this move now, we have a demand zone around the 1.270 area. So our stop losses for any buy position here will just fall right around or even extend it a little bit to the downside. So I'm going to be having a buy stop order above the 1.27100 area to capture a bullish move to the upside. So with a buy stop order above the 1.271, we would have our stop losses anywhere below other demand zone, or let's give room for price action to breathe, of course. So we should be having about 15 to 18 pips stop loss on this one, which is quite reasonable for this current position. And let's see how far this move is going to go. So on the GBPUSD, we are looking out for buying opportunities above the 1.27100 area to capitalize on this move. So let's scale back up into the 1 hour time frame, where we shall be looking at how to maximize this move, add more position to our existing trade. So now that we have positioned ourselves above the 1.271, we are also going to be having a buy stop order above the 1.272. That's another key level we are going to be using to maximize this move. And then we also have another one at the 1.274, after which I will be giving you more levels if we do have them in my comment section on both my TradingView and Telegram platform. So on the GBPUSD today, we are looking very bullish at this point, considering the two factors I mentioned earlier. The first one, ascending trend line, price sits on a strong ascending trend line. And secondly, we have buy pressure around above our key level, which is another good opportunity for us to buy the GBPUSD. So in as much as we're looking out for buy positions here, you know how we do it in this community. We also want to keep tabs with the potentials of sellers too. Now, with the situation we have here, what do we want to see on this chart that will make us consider selling and negating the idea of buying? Well, for me to sell here, I would rather see a significant breakthrough of both the trend line and of course the key level at the 1.27 area to give me a signal that we might likely be selling. And remember, we are not getting too excited in this kind of structure, as we'll still need a confirmation to happen before we join any bearish move at this point. And for us to join any bearish move here, which I doubt will happen at all, I want to see price action come back and retest structures like the key level or the trend line here to incite a trend continuation to the downside. And if this happens, it's only what we are going to be looking out for to sell the GBPUSD today. So let's be mindful of this current situation as we have our buy stop order triggered on the GBPUSD at this point, and let's hope that price action will continue to the upside. So these are my views here on the GBPUSD. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section while I take the next 10-15 seconds to see if there are any questions, and also you can use that time to mark these levels out on your chart. Of course, you do want to be marking out those levels so that you can be able to know when to get in and when to get out of your trades. So let's see if there are any questions, please. Hello, I can see some comments. Jonah Aruna, good morning to you. How are you doing, Jonah? Trust you are doing very well this morning. And Real Trading US, good morning to you. Glad to have you around. I'm seeing your comment for the first time. I'm sure you're new. Are you? You want us to treat XAUUSD? Of course, the XAUUSD is one of the instruments on our watch list, so we are going to be treating that one in a moment. So stay tuned in so that you don't miss out on that session. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're on the same page here. So we shall be moving on to the next instrument on our watch list. Oh, okay, all right. I see you comment. Thank you very much, Deji. I appreciate your highlight there. Okay, I see it. I'm sorry, I never knew I muted my microphone, but I think you can hear me now. Let's confirm that you can hear me, please, and this will give me a feedback that we are good to go. We're on the same page. So like I was saying earlier, I was talking about the XAUUSD and how we have been profitable on this commodity so far this week. And I told you how we have been buying this instrument since the beginning of the week. And I also emphasized that we were monitoring this instrument together on our XAUUSD live monitoring window, which we kickstarted last week, and we've been seeing some tractions. So I implore you to stay tuned in. 11:45 a.m. UTC today, we are also going to be starting another live monitoring on the XAUUSD. So I implore you to join us to be part of that session and make it very interesting by being engaging in the comment section. So on the XAUUSD so far this week, we have been very profitable. We had a buy position triggered here on Monday. we capitalized on this move by adding more positions here, and then we had a third position around this area before we begin to see the sell pressure. So we were able to scoop a minimum of 150 pips on all positions we had on Monday on the XAUUSD. So it has been quite a beautiful start to the week. However, during the live session yesterday, we acknowledged that the US is observing a holiday yesterday, the Independence Day holiday, and as a result of that, we didn't have liquidity in the market as the US market was closed, so there was no traction during the supposed US session. And with that situation, we saw a choppy situation. Though we had a buy position, we saw a buy here. We added more position at the breakout of the 1,925, and this all happened during the early hours of the London session. But as soon as we got to that time where we expected more traction, that is the US session, the market was closed, and of course we saw this consolidation phase, which reflected the lack of liquidity in this particular market. And one thing we said during our live monitoring window was that we are going to be remaining patient within that range around the 1,930 level and the 1,925 area. So we were looking out for a breakout of that resistance line to be part of a buy position, and we were looking out for a breakdown of the 1,925 for selling opportunities. And remember, I said there during our live session that we are going to be having a sell stop order below the 1,925. Remember, so we had a sell stop order, and this morning when I woke up, I saw that the position has been triggered, and in fact, we had a situation where price action had moved about 45 pips in our favor before this bullish traction began. And I shared an update this morning telling everyone to secure the current sell position. Let's look at that quickly. So if you are with me on my TradingView and Telegram platform, you would have gotten this update this morning. So I said we should secure the sell position and wait and see how price action will be playing out going forward. So this was my commentary here this morning. I said after observing a consistent and uniform formation of lower highs over the past 22 hours, our sell position has been activated as the price broke down and retested the 1,925 level. So I said here it is advisable to secure the sell position at this point while also keeping an eye out for additional selling opportunities. The newly identified descending trend line will serve as a reference point to guide our trading decisions for today. So let's go back into the live chart and look at what I was trying to buttress there. So this is the live chart back again, 1 hour time frame. So I said there is a new setup we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for today, which is the lower highs we connected here to give us this descending trend line. So this trend line here will guide our trading activity for today, and you know how we use our trend lines in this community. As long as price action remains below that trend line, we shall continue to look out for selling opportunities, and if price breaks out of that trend line, then we might be getting ready for a momentum shift. And like I said this morning, I said we should all move our stop losses to secure the position, and if you had done that correctly, you would have been taken out had a worst case scenario break even at this point. Now, going into the London and the New York session today, what is going to be our plans? What are our expectations based on this current market structure? And one thing for sure here is that the market has been very bullish since the beginning of the week. We want to acknowledge that and not ignore the potentials that buyers could take over this market. And for the fact that we saw a significant breakout of this trend line, in fact we're having a retest right now, I'm of the opinion that we might be changing our bias to bullish at this point. So buying along this area, around this area, looks quite reasonable at this point. And if you had missed out on that one, you want to have a buy stop order somewhere right above this 1,928 levels to capture the trend continuation to the upside. So I want to mark this level out, and I hope you do so as well on your charts, as we are going to be using this as a significant reference point in maximizing the potential of this bullish move that we are about to see in this market. Now, in addition to the idea of buying the XAUUSD today, is the fact that since price broke out of that 1,920 that was on Monday, which we also took advantage of, we saw price action come back to retest structure, and since then price is yet to break down this level, which for me is a sign that buyers are gaining momentum as this area has turned out to be an accumulation phase. And with the situation, we have a low here, then we have a higher low here leading into this engulfing bullish candle. Then at this point, I'm going to be holding on to a bullish bias on the XAUUSD today. So anywhere around this point above the 1,925 is looking promising to buy the XAUUSD for today. So let me just readjust this and place my arrows around this area. So we are very profitable so far this week, so we can afford to have our buy stop orders placed, not waiting for the breakout retest to happen before joining. So we can still leverage on some of the profits we have made so far this week to test waters around these key levels. So we also have a level at the 1,930. A breakout retest will also help us maximize this move to the upside. Then we are also going to be having another one at the 1,933 level. So these are very significant levels that we are going to be using to maximize the potential of this bullish move today. So let's see how price action plays out. Then one thing I would like to say here is that even if we have this bullish move up, there's still a chance price could come back to retest the structure. So we can also keep that in mind too, and don't panic if anything of such happens. And we might be thinking that the momentum has shifted. No, it hasn't shifted. As long as price remains above that descending trend line and the 1,925 level, we shall feel comfortable in a buy position at this current juncture. So you want to be marking these levels out on your chart right now. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunities, we cannot ignore the potentials of sellers too as well. As you can see, since the beginning of the week, we have been noticing some selling pressure around the 1,930. We saw that happen on Monday. We saw the same thing happen yesterday too around this area, giving us a clue that sellers are very strong around that level. So we are still going to watch how price will react to that structure there again when it comes into that zone. And as soon as price tests the 1,930, I'm advising us to move all stop losses to our entry point, secure that position, as we want to see how the market will be reacting to that level. Now, with the idea of selling the XAUUSD today, personally, I would want to see price action break through the 1,920 before considering selling. So at this point in time, I want to see something like a breakdown of the $1,920.50 level, then look out for retest of structure to give me further confirmation to add more position to my existing trade on this commodity. But at this point in time, I'm holding on to a bullish bias. As long as price remains above that descending trend line, we feel comfortable in our buy position. So let's mark this trend line out, very important, and mark out those levels too as well. Or you could screenshot my screen and use it as a reference point to guide your trading activities for today. So let's see if there are any questions as regards to what I just explained so far. If there are any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking some 10 to 15 seconds to wait and see if there are any questions before I move into the last instrument for today. All right, I see comments from Richard Blackett. Good morning, Richard. Thank you very much for that feedback. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much, Deji. Deji is behind the scenes too, I know. Thank you very much for your feedbacks as regards to the sound quality the other time. So in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're on the same page here. So I will just be moving into the last instrument for today, which is the USDJPY. So on the USDJPY, we already have a sell position triggered this morning. I shared an update this morning as regards to the setup. And let's quickly run through the commentary on the USDJPY on my public platform before we go into the details of what we are looking at on this instrument for today. So right here on my trading view, is of course on my Telegram platform. We have been selling within that range. Yesterday price has closed out at break even, and then this morning I said here that okay, this is my commentary this morning. So I said, following a small profit from exiting the sell position, trading activities continue to exhibit indecisiveness as the price action remains range bound. It is advisable to remain patient and await trading opportunities around the levels identified on the 1 hour time frame. So let's go back into the live chart here. So this was what I was talking about at this point. And if you look at the structure here and consider what has been going on, in fact, since Thursday of last week trading session, it's quite clear that price action has been range bound, giving us an insight into the level of indecision in this particular market. And in fact, it is a well-known thing in the market that the yen has been dropping significantly well in the last couple of months now. And one thing that caught my attention in the news on Friday last week was the comment made by Suzuki, that was the Minister of Finance for the Japanese economy. And one thing he said was that he gave a warning that those who are shorting traders and investors should desist from shorting the yen, as if it persists that the Bank of Japan might be forced to intervene. And when there is intervention like this, there is always a voluminous buy of the yen so that it can artificially increase the value of the yen. And we are that range, that zone where that same thing happened last year, September. Now, I shared something in my video on the USDJPY, which I would like to share again so that we can have an holistic perspective into what is going on in this particular market. Now, if we go to as far back as September of last year, you will see this was when the Bank of Japan intervened in the market, buying the yen in bulk and resulting in that strong impulsive move to the downside. And if you look at that structure, that price level, it falls around that 145.00 area, a very strong psychological level. And since that time, we have seen the USDJPY traded below that area. Now, throughout the course of this year, price action has gradually found that momentum back into that zone around that 145.00 level. And following the comments, especially after the comments of Suzuki, price action around that area, that same area where the Bank of Japan intervened last year, then it has sent a lot of caution into the market, and this has rippled, giving us a risk-averse sentiment at this particular point in time. And as a result of this, we have been noticing a consolidation phase around that area, which further reflects the level of indecision at this point in time. And I'm of the opinion that if a breakout of this range happens at any point in time, it's going to be very, very massive. So what we want to do here is to ensure that we position ourselves in such a way that we can catch that move. And in order to do this, we want to scale down into a much more lower time frame where we begin to see things more clearly. Now, to do that, we shall be scaling down into the 1 hour time frame. And on the 1 hour time frame, we've been able to identify a range which has been going on for close to 5-6 days now, as price action has been caught within that 144.900 level, and of course the 144.200, which happens to be our key level for this week. I implore you to watch my video on the USDJPY to get a better understanding of how we got to this point. The link is in the description box of this current video, and they are duly timestamped so you can easily navigate to whichever aspect of the video is of your interest. So with price action caught within a range right now, it emphasizes the level of indecision in the market, and you know how we do it in this community. Whenever we have a flat range like this, we want to remain patient for price action to either break out of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or wait for price to break down the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And while trying to see what was going on this morning, if we compare the distance where price was at this morning at the time I shared my commentary to the resistance line, we have about 33 pips. And if we compare the distance to the support line, we had about 40 pips. So I was now thinking, are we going to wait for price action to get to the resistance line, break it out first of all before we take advantage of a buy position? Or are we going to be waiting for price to first of all break down the support line for selling opportunity? And if that's going to be the case, we are going to miss out on a lot of pips. So what I did here is to try and decipher where it's most likely price action will be going so that we can capture that move in due time, hereby maximizing the potential of that move when it finally breaks out either the resistance line or the support line. And to do that, I was able to identify a key level for today, which falls at the 144.450 area. As you can see, this level has been a major determinant of price action in the last couple of days now. And in addition to that level, I had this ascending trend line after connecting the series of higher lows here. So we have these simple structures which we are going to be using to guide our trading activity today. So this is just right within that range. And with that structure here, I was looking forward to a breakdown of the trend line and of course the 144.450 to capture this bearish move to the downside. And that is what happened. We saw price break down that structure and price has been trading to the downside at this point, as we are currently running with a minimum of about let's see, about 10 pips, 11 pips in profit at this point. So for those who took advantage of this opportunity, well done to you guys for being on standby to have caught this move. Now, what are we going to be doing next? Now, for those who had missed out on this opportunity, there's no cause for alarm, as there's still a chance price will come back and retest structure. Now, you know, from a technical standpoint, when price action breaks down key structures like the trend line and this level like this, we expect that one point in time, price may come back to retest structure, followed by selling pressure to incite another wave to the downside. So if you had missed out on that sell position, let's wait for new structures to mature before joining any potential move at this point in time. So let's see how price action will play out going forward. And our stop losses should be anywhere above the 144.690, as things are still looking very bearish at this particular point in time. However, in as much as we're looking out for selling opportunities, you know how we do it in this community, we also want to keep tabs with the potentials of buyers. And one thing I can tell you for free here since the beginning of the week is the fact that we have been noticing how sellers have been struggling around our key level for the week. And you can see every time sellers drop into the structure to break through, it has been met with strong resistance from the buyers at every point in time. And in the last couple of hours now, price is back into that zone. So we need to be very, very careful at this juncture, as we need further breakdown of the structure to confirm that sellers will be pushing price to the downside. So we'll still need another breakdown of this level for us to join a bearish move to the downside. But if this buy pressure around this area persists, then we might likely be seeing a bullish momentum taking out all the sell positions here to incite another wave of bullish momentum. And for me to join a bullish momentum at this juncture, I would want to see price action break out of the 144.690. That happens to be our resistance line for the week initially, before we saw this old choppy situation began. And remember, as soon as price break out of that structure, we are not going to be getting too excited, as we'll still need some confirmation that buyers are actually gaining momentum at this point. And to do that, we want to scale down into our lower time frame, 15, 5, 10 minutes time frame, whichever case it may be. And what we want to be looking out for are signs that buyers are gradually gaining momentum, and this would reflect on the chart as price coming back to retest structure or the trend line to incite another wave. Then we could join and have a buy stop order above the 144.900 to maximize the potential of the trend continuation to the upside. So that is how we are going to be buying the USDJPY for today. So as long as price remain below these structures here, we still remain very bearish in this market. In fact, I want to see a breakdown of the structure to be very, very confident in the sell position that we are currently in. So let's see how price action will play out in the next couple of hours. And trust me, I will definitely be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platforms to give you updates as at when due. So I think we are going to be calling it a day at this point in time. If you have any questions as regards to the instrument we have talked so far, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and trust me, I am here and very willing to be of help in that regard. So let's see what will happen in the next 10 to 15 seconds. And that reminds me, our XAUUSD live monitoring window is coming up by 11:45 UTC this morning. So I want you to save this on your calendars and click the notify me button on the link. So let me share the link quickly so that we can all be on the same page when it finally starts. Okay, so I will be sharing the link right now in the comment section. So I want you guys to be around. Let's make this happen, and let's keep the comment section lively during the live broadcast of the XAUUSD monitoring window. So let me find the comment section. Okay, so here we are. So I just dropped it in the comment section. So you want to click on the notify me button so that you get notified as soon as we come on live. All right, guys. So thank you as you do so. I can see your comment trading tips. Thanks for the compliment. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for being around here with us. All right. So in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're on the same page here. And I look forward to seeing you in the comment section. I wish you best of luck during the London and New York session today. And as always, I will be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you update as at when due as we continue to monitor price action. Please don't forget to support this project by clicking the like button. Your likes are very valuable to me. I really do appreciate them, and it also helps the YouTube algorithm to push this video to a wider range of traders who would also find this video useful to them too. So please click the like button, support this project, and I appreciate you in advance as you do so. Thank you very much, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the comment section as we continue to monitor price action. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye-bye.